If we're supposed to sympathize with people like Sheila and Eric's highly problematic, I'd say, and even Gerald and Mr. Burling is an object of mockery completely, certainly in terms of dramatic irony, whatever his other menace. Mrs. Burling is detestable and purposefully so. She shows no remorse at all, and she's quite dark, I'd say. And then, of course, the great dramatic irony of her saying the father of the child is the one who's responsible is really the kicker here. So she's the next one to be interrogated. This is my passage 6, Mrs. Birling. So she works for a charity because there isn't a welfare state at this time in Edwardian England. So if you were destitute or in need, you'd have to go to a charity. So she comes to your help, but she doesn't come as Ava Smith or as Daisy Renton. She comes as, her name is Mrs. Birling, and I think she comes as Mrs. Birling because of her connection with Eric, and maybe, I don't know why she takes that name. But again, it's impertinent. It's deliberately impertinent. She's Mrs. Birling suggesting almost that she's looking at the names of the people and suggesting that they're somehow related. So you were prejudiced against her case. Yeah, I was. Look, she's totally unapologetic, completely. I didn't like her manner. Again, I didn't, impertinent, that word keeps being used. I didn't like the way she used my name. And I got to the truth. So what was it that she was doing? I know why she wanted our help. If you can bring any pressure to bear upon me, you're really mistaken. Unlike the other three, I did nothing I'm ashamed of. And I think that's really important. She feels completely blameless. She asked for help, and we look at these things. Charities look really carefully at the claim, and we refused. Okay, so I think you did something terribly wrong, and you're going to spend the rest of your life regretting it. This is a threat, surely. She was going to have a kid. She was pregnant. I'll tell you what I told her. Go and look for the father of the child. It's his responsibility. So here we get this dramatic irony again. And he's giving her an opportunity, to show a bit of humanity. Like Sheila. Like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant, dead. No, not her. That doesn't make it any the less yours. She came to you for help, and at a time when no woman could have needed it more. And you not only refused it, but saw to it the others refused it too. So not only did she shut her down, she made sure everyone shut her down. You slammed the door, metaphorically and literally, in her face. I think it was justified. The girl had begun by telling us a pack of lies. Afterwards, I got the truth, and I discovered she knew who the father was. She was quite certain about that, and I told her it was her business to make him responsible. If he refused to marry her, and in my opinion he ought to be compelled to, then he must at least support her. I lost all patience with her. She was claiming elaborate, fine feelings and scruples, morality. So, why she doesn't have morality. Of course, she was raped by her son, by this Eric Burling. So this is ridiculous. She said the father was a youngster, wild, drinking too much, Eric. And there was no way she could marry him. And she's arguing, oh, this is just filled with morality that she doesn't believe someone of her status would have. Why didn't she want to take money from him? A lot of nonsense. She had some fancy reason, as if a girl of that sort would refuse money. Then he'd said something one night when he was drunk. He gave her the idea that it wasn't his money. So it's stolen. So she doesn't know it's stolen. Then she finds out. That's the story she finally told. I refuse to believe it. Okay, so all of us know what's up, except her. She's so dumb. In the play, she's just the villain. So if it was stolen, she came to you for help. But it sounded ridiculous to me, so I was perfectly justified in advising my committee not to allow her claim. You're not sorry? I'm sorry she came to a horrible end, but I can accept no blame at all. Just echoing Birling's accepting no responsibility. Look, who's to blame? The girl's to blame. Secondly, the young man. Some drunken idler, he's the one who should be paying and taking responsibility. So he's the culprit. Here we get the trap. He's building in the trap. Yes. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna do my duty. I'm gonna do my duty. Here's the sarcasm, I think. Okay, well, that's good. Okay, let's go. No, I'm gonna wait. Wait for what? To do my duty. What do you... It's ridiculous. So she's realizing... No. You're not trying to tell us that my boy... If he is, we know what to do, don't we? Earlier, Sheila's kind of yelling, shrieking at Mrs. Birling. Don't you see? He knows everything. So Mrs. Birling's fallen into the trap by saying the father has to be responsible. And of course, it's Eric. And this is brutal. Snap up. If she doesn't regret, she's going to regret because her son should, by her own argument, take full responsibility. And here, both Priestley, through the inspector and definitely the audience is having fun at Mrs. Birling's expense.